The Bobcat Cherry Podcast. When you think of a Texas Ranger in the 1870s, you probably imagine a rough and tumble cowboy who lives on trail jerky and coffee. But John Barclay Armstrong was different. He was a gentleman, literate, soft-spoken, and had a mind like a Swiss watch.
Okay, so not your average Rooster Cogburn.
Exactly. Armstrong was a member of the Special Force of the Texas Rangers, under the legendary Captain Leander McNelly. While other Rangers were kicking down doors, Armstrong was studying the science of the hunt. He understood that to catch the world's most dangerous man, you didn't need to be faster, you needed to be smarter.
So, in 1877, who was the world's most dangerous man?
That would be John Wesley Hardin, who by this time had already killed over 40 men. He had escaped from every jail they put him in. He was a ghost. He had vanished after killing deputy sheriff in Comanche, Texas, and the trail had been cold for years. The state of Texas put a $4,000 bounty on him, an astronomical sum at the time, but no one could find him except for Armstrong. Contrary to the time, Armstrong didn't start his search in the saddle. He started it in a post office. He began intercepting mail sent to Hardin's relatives in the Texas Hill Country. He spent weeks decoding letters, looking for patterns in the handwriting and postmarks.
He was doing 19th century metadata analysis, just not on Sundays.
Why not Sundays?
No post on Sundays.
From this analysis, Armstrong noticed a series of letters coming from a Mr. Swain in Florida and Alabama. Most people would have ignored it, but Armstrong noticed the Swain letters mentioned family details only Hardin would know.
In this case, no Swain, no gain.
But Armstrong faced a massive hurdle. He was a Texas Ranger, but Hardin was in Florida. He had no legal jurisdiction outside of Texas. If he went there officially, the local authorities might tip Hardin off. So, Armstrong went undercover.
Under the covers of whose bed?
Not a bed, Ty. He hopped on a train, hiding his silver star and his heavy Colt 45. He traveled east, posing as a traveling businessman. He spent days in Pensacola, Florida, nursing one drink in the back of saloons, listening for the sound of a Texas accent. August 23, 1877, Armstrong gets word that Hardin, alias Swain, is boarding a train in Pensacola, bound for Alabama. Following this tip, Armstrong, despite having a massive, painful boil on his leg that made it nearly impossible to walk, limps onto the train car. He's alone. He sees Hardin sitting with 4 of his gang members.
Surprisingly, Hardin and his men missed the sight of Armstrong's gargantuan, odious boil.
Armstrong doesn't hesitate. He walks up to Hardin, pulls his revolver, and shouts, "Texas Rangers, drop your guns!"
I really hope he had the backup to pluralize Rangers.
No, Ty, he's alone. Hardin, famous for his lightning draw, tries to pull his pistol from his shirt, but the hammer gets caught in his suspenders. One of Hardin's men pulls a gun and fires, nearly hitting Armstrong. Armstrong doesn't flinch. He fires back, killing the henchman instantly. Before the smoke could even clear, Armstrong used the barrel of his gun to knock Hardin unconscious. He didn't just arrest him, he subdued the deadliest man in the West with a single blow.
Well, then what happened?
The other outlaws were so stunned by Armstrong's coolness that they surrendered right then and there.
All with that nasty boil he probably got from sleeping in a La Quinta from the 1800s.
Now here's the detective novel twist. Armstrong still has no legal right to be in Florida. He knows that if he waits for extradition papers, Hardin's lawyers will get him out.
So, what does this gentleman ranger do?
He essentially kidnaps his prisoner. He drags a semi-conscious John Wesley Hardin onto a train and heads for Texas border. He doesn't sleep for 2 days. He sits across from Hardin with a shotgun across his knees.
I bet Armstrong was hallucinating not only from the boil, but also from those 2 days without sleep.
You really like that boil. Hardin tried to bribe him. He tried to threaten him. He told Armstrong, "If I ever get loose, you're the first man I'm coming for." Armstrong just checked his pocket watch and told him to sit down. When they crossed the Texas line, Armstrong sent a telegram to the governor. "I have Hardin bringing him home." The state went wild. They hadn't just caught a killer. They had proven that the Texas Rangers could reach out and grab you anywhere in the world.
I finally found out why he pluralized Texas Rangers. It was Armstrong and that boil.
John Barclay Armstrong didn't stop there. He went on to become a legendary U.S. Marshal. He was the man who cleaned up the lawless Nueces Strip. He eventually founded the Armstrong Ranch, which is still one of the most famous and historic ranches in the South Texas today.
Quit lying to me, bro. Ain't nobody heard about this Armstrong Ranch. Listen, when did he lose the boil? Did he ever lose it? Was it attached? Does Texas Ranger go with him everywhere?
Shut up, Ty. Because Armstrong didn't want it, he was a professional. He was the bridge between the old Wild West and the modern era of criminal investigation. He proved that the most powerful weapon a lawman has isn't his holster, it's his head.
Nah, man, listen to the story, man. That boil did a lot of hard work. Listen, they left out the most important detail out of this story. Those men weren't scared because he hit one dude in the face with a gun. Those men were scared because that gargantuan boil was being carried by the...
I'm so sorry about that. Ty's microphone is now removed. Hardin eventually went to prison, and years later, when he was paroled, he was asked who the toughest man he ever met was. He didn't say a gunslinger. He said it was the man who caught him on a train in Florida. I'm Zach Hansen.
This is Icebox Tea.
And this has been Bobcat Cherry. The Hill Country has a long memory for outlaws, but today we remember the shadow that finally caught them.